righty, good afternoon, hello, and welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to episode number 73 of Clark After Dark. Right here, live and direct on RaceON.com. Got a little bit of Led Zeppelin bringing us into this one tonight. Folks, we're happy about it. Racing season as we've talked about it over the last couple of weeks that we're right there, right? We've been watching the World of Outlaws late models, the World of Outlaws sprint cars. Haven't seen the high limit sprint cars yet. They kick off their season in Las Vegas Motor Speedway Dirt Track in just a couple of more weeks. And of course, the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series just concluded their feature event here tonight at Ocala Speedway down in Ocala, Florida. So a lot going on. Of course, Hunt County Raceway got their first event in this past weekend over there in Greenville, Texas. We'll get into the nuts and bolts and what happened over there in Greenville. A lot more and so much more to talk about this weekend right here on episode number 73 of Clark After Dark. My co-host of this podcast, he's no stranger to Victor Lane, and he's no stranger to this podcast. My man from Alexandria, Louisiana, Cortland Smith, joins me now. Cortland, like I said there in that intro, man, there's a lot going on, and we'll do our best to get to all, to get to the majority of it here tonight, man. But weather's nice too, dude. We had a little rain this weekend, but for the most part, dude, it was like 70 degrees and sunny, for the most of the mid-south here today, dude. The weather is it seems like it's nicer this time of year. I know we had a little snowmageddon about 3 or 4 weeks ago, but I mean, for the most part, dude, the weather's pretty nice right now, and it's feeling racy outside. I don't know about you, buddy, but it's feeling racy out yonder.
Yes, it is feeling very racy out yonder. I think about this time last year, maybe a little bit a week earlier, last year, about middle of February was when we had our big cold snap. I see memories on Facebook and photo memories, whatever, popping up. So, we caught our cold snap there a little bit earlier this past weekend. Like you said, man, the weather was absolutely phenomenal. And I think everybody kind of paid some good fortunes out of that. Speed weeks, everybody's talking about how nice the weather is now that they're past, that they've ran speed weeks later. Hunt County had a phenomenal night, like you said. It's that time of year, man. We are this close. We got 3 races live on the RaceON platform this weekend. Boot Hill gets kicked off next week, dude. I'm telling you, this grin is not fake. I wish you could see it, boy. I got goosebumps popping up right now, son. I'm telling you, boy, it is race season. We are here. We are here. We are right there on the cusp of getting to a racetrack and having the time of our lives, ladies and gentlemen. And I can't be more excited for it myself.
Boy, I done talked some goosebumps on my boy Cortland Smith's arms tonight, man. That's what it's all about. I'm here to tell you now.
And all the victory lane memo, just to let people know your boy used to wheel a little. I like that. I appreciate that. That's right,
man. He was a good wheeler too, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. He ain't playing around, man. I guarantee you. Hey, I saw you today, by the way. And I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to give you a hard time, but hey, my boy teed up Tommy Williams out there like, we're looking for a shoe. Hey, and listen, no disrespect to you, dude. I should have put your name into the hat first because you're my boy. You know what I mean? But I put Kyle Cummings' name in there because, former King of the Hill. He's won the Mike Parker. If you're looking for a factory stock driver, like a free agent, let's be honest. Like, if there's a number one free agent available, would you and I both agree that it's probably Kyle Cummings, a driver who doesn't have a car right now? I'd say that the number one contender would have to be Kyle Cummings, right? I don't know.
Yeah. It's got to be. It's got to be Kyle Cummins. And if you somehow or another end up over here if you're looking for a guy just over here, Cody Myers stepped away from racing, but that's a guy right now that I'm sure he wouldn't mind just 1 or 2 weekends pop in, but Kyle Cummins for sure. If Tommy Williams picks me over Kyle Cummins, I'm going to tell him that he's a silly goose and needs to go find a pond. Okay. But I just had to tell him my name out there. What's that?
I'm going to tell him he's just a pit reporter. That's what I'm going to tell him. I'm going to say, Tommy, he's just a pit reporter. Give us our guy back. We're racing for 30 grand this week, and we need him down there running around in the infield with a microphone. Don't take our pit reporter. Anyway, hey, you did a really good job in your one-off, in your one pit reporting experience. I know you've been up in the booth when you come, but you did a pretty solid job. Not to blow sunshine up your ass too much, but it did a pretty solid job whenever, it was the only one you ever did, and people thought you'd been doing it forever. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Where people were like, is he a pit reporter or is he a race car driver? It's a pretty good debate maybe to have in maybe in a few more years.
One of the best things that ever happened. I was at Boot Hill and I was just walking around the pits, and some guy, I'm standing in line at the concession stand, and he's like, "Man, were you here the other weekend when they had that big dude running around the infield all over the place? That was the most fun I had at the racetrack." And I look at my fiance, Natalie, and I said, "Watch this." I go, "Yeah, man, he was awesome. I love that dude. He was phenomenal." He goes, "Yeah, he was funny and he was doing all this stuff." And I was like, sir, I just want to let you know that was me. And he was like, oh no, like, are you serious? Like, yeah, that was me. Like, I had to pull your leg there for a second. Like, I'm the same person all the time. I'm gonna get my funny in, but yeah. Enough about me. Let's get to Hunt County, man. They had some fun.
Yeah, I knew that was making you extremely uncomfortable talking about yourself.
It was.
I feel the same. I feel the same way. I don't like talking about me, even when people are giving me praise. Like, it's very much appreciated, but that's not what I do it for. But it is appreciated, right? Like, it never hurts for people to tell you do a good job, because if you put your heart and soul into it, it is nice to, get recognized for that every once in a while. But if you're out, if that is your sole purpose on why you're in this, you're in it for all the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? I'm gonna tell you that right now, but I know that's not why you're in it. So, hey man, last weekend was episode 72 of Clark After Dark, and right whenever it got done, I said, we didn't give them a 72 this week, did we, old Court? And you said, I don't think we did. So I didn't give a 72. And we were thinking about it earlier. I said, you know what? I got to make up for last week. And I remembered the driver of the Hughes race car, Kyle Caldwell, drove a 72. And I'm not sure if you were able to pull one out of your hat there, but do you have any 72s to make up for last week?
Oh, I definitely do. 72, Michael Norris out of Sarver, Pennsylvania, super late model wheeler. I can almost pull a super late model guy for almost every number, but Michael Norris used to come down to Speed Weeks a whole lot, had a couple good runs over at Volusia, and then whenever you roll up to PA, you know that 72 is going to be in the hunt. Really good at Lernerville, really good at Pittsburgh Motor Speedway, where they have the Pittsburgher 100. And then I got another one. It's not 72 exactly, but if we ever make it to episode 721, we'll be doing a dang good job, friend. But Jason Gore, the 721, when I was sitting there thinking of 72s, I was like, man, I got a late model guy, but they're probably tired of hearing about late model guys. Let's find somebody around here. So I'm sitting there and I'm fumbling through, and I'm like, man, old Jason Gore, like, we hung out a couple times. He's a cool old dude, like, he's 721. If we make it to episode 721, we'll bring him up again, but that'll be a long time from now. So Jason Gore, shout out to my friend over there. Always a real clean gray car, had some green outline to it, but a really unique number, triple digit gang, triple digit number gang. Appreciate, shout out to Jason Gore there. That's my 272s there. Michael Norris out of Sarver, Pennsylvania, super late model wheeler, and Jason Gore, the Texas native. I believe, ain't it Kaufman, Texas?
Belton.
I think it's Kaufman. Ain't
he lived in Belton for a little while, and Kaufman, but yeah, he's a
Kaufman. Okay.
Yeah, he's a good one, dude. A really good one. Yeah, former Dustin Duncan Memorial winner in the open wheel modified ranks back in the day as well. Like, the dude has won some races in his career. Really, really good one. He'd always come around and run those first, the original Mike Parker, or the factory stock 50 before it was renamed 50s to the Mike Parker Memorial when they were held at Timberline. He was always one of the frequent flyers and running up front in those big races. So, yeah, I got a lot of respect for Jason Gore, and love watching him race. He came and ran some of the big factory stock shows last year, and I anticipate he'll probably be back. And he's in one of them sniper speed chassis, was trying to run in some of that stock car stuff over these last couple of years. So, I'll have to check in and see what he's got going on. But yeah, man, that's a good one there. This episode is number 73, of course. And man, like, I don't know, the 73 just seem like they're getting kind of difficult. But man, I got a really good one for you today. And I want to give shout out to Keaton Atkinson, because he actually sent me this. And I said, well, I'm going to use it, so I'm going to give Keaton the credit here. And if I'd have thought long and hard enough about it, maybe I'd have ended up figuring it out, but probably not. So we're going to give Keaton all the credit here. Number 73 today. All right. The number 73, Johnny Beauchamp, is the only number 73 to ever win in NASCAR's highest series. There it is, right there. Look at that old unit right there, son. Like, the Coggin Chev Incorporated Swanson brake service, number 73 of Johnny Beauchamp. Like, what a unit we have here, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway, so Johnny Beauchamp was involved in the crash that ended Lee Petty's career. In the 1959 Daytona 500, it was such a close photo finish that it took the sanctioning body 3 days to officially declare a winner. Like, they initially gave the win to Johnny Beauchamp in the 1959 inaugural Daytona 500, but after 3 days and looking over video or photo, evidence, they declared Lee Petty the winner of the inaugural Daytona 500. But, it's pretty cool, man. Like, there's a lot of rich history in this sport. Like, we don't often talk about NASCAR, but when NASCAR was back in those roots, Cortland, like, look at the wheels on that mug. Like, that is about as stock as you can get as far. And I'm just going to say it right now. These dudes were warriors. Like, the safety, like, these guys were absolutely nuts to be racing in the fashion in which they were racing back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And all the way up until Dale Earnhardt passed away in the final turn of the 2001 Daytona 500, just thinking about how far safety technology has come. Like, Johnny Beauchamp passed away April 17th in 1981. And it was He had a heart attack, they say, but he died at the age of 58 years old. And I was reading some stuff about him, and they were saying, his motorsports career and the way racing was back then, it probably wasn't very good on his health. To die of a heart attack at 58 years old is pretty wild. But anyway, that's pretty cool, though, man. So shout out Keaton Atkinson. He said he'll be at the Ronnie Adams at Boot Hill in a couple of weeks. What do you think about old Johnny Beauchamp?
Dude, that was a unit of a car right there. Like that, if that doesn't bring some type of nostalgia to you, and you said it best, like they were warriors. Like these dudes, and it's one thing, it's not like they were reckless with their safety. They just didn't know no better. Like they didn't have all this data testing and Hans devices and, all these SFI certified suits. I'll have to find the picture of when my grandpa first started racing, and he's in his work shirt, his Henry's Auto Salvage work shirt. Pins are in the front pocket, and you can read his name on there, Henry, and he's got goggles on and just a lap belt, just a bench seat. Like it's just like they just didn't know no better, and even if they did, it was one of those deals of like, well, what can we do about it? Like we don't have a Hans device made yet. We don't have all these fancy seats and helmets and all that stuff. So yeah, like those guys were absolute warriors. And you never don't ever forget where we came from, and people may laugh about it and joke about it, but that stuff like that, without guys and racing in the past, we wouldn't be where we are here today. So it is really cool to go down memory lane, go back in our history, and really take a look and gander at it, and just think of really big picture when you look at it, where we started to where we are right now. Like they were racing. Yeah. It took them 3 days to figure out who won the Daytona 500 back then. But tonight we just watched a race happen in Ocala, Florida, sitting in the comfort of my home, like on a TV, just where we've been and where we came to. It's so cool to look back in history. And like you said, the warriors that paved our way to be able to do what we do now. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. In a way, I wish that we could kind of go back to those simpler times, right? Like I wish we could take away the social media and act like it never existed. You know what I mean? Like if you took it away now, everybody would freak out because they've had it and everybody's addicted to it now. But yeah, if there was some things I could take away, that's one of the first things I would take away would be social media. And I would do it for the sake of racing, honestly, just because I know where it would be headed, right? If I could go back and have, hindsight's always 20/20, but if I could change something about how I knew that how the future was probably going to shape up and the road we're headed down, that'd be one of the things that I'd take away immediately would be the internet and social media. We'd use it for everything we needed it for and use it to our advantage, but we wouldn't use it to bash the sport and what have you. But y'all get it. Don't need to go down that rabbit hole right now. But man, I have one more 73. Tom Poston. It was a red, blue, yellow letter number 73 in a factory stock class, raced Boot Hill Arklatex. Fielded this car back in 2010 for Ryan Burke. Ryan picked up some wins in that car, but Tom Poston, man, a lot of people know Tom around Boot Hill Speedway and the Arklatex region, but Tom's a really good guy. I haven't seen him at the racetrack in a little while, but that's another local 73 that I thought of here this evening. So, man, Hunt County Raceway finally got their first event in. Of course, man, we were really disappointed that we've talked about this the last few weeks as well, that the Longhorn Roundup was not able to take shape, but man, they did get a nice field of modifieds over there this past weekend. Just real quick, go over the winners. We'll get into the race in a little bit more. Randy Buttery pick up the Eco Mod. Always cool to see Randy Buttery and Victor Lane, man. You could look at the results over the last 15 years at Kennedale Speedway Park, and he visited Victor Lane quite a few times in the factory stock, right? The 06 car. Randy Buttery is, he's no stranger, son. He can wheel a race car. The Junior Limited Modified winner went to Colby Whitworth. The Limited Modified race was terrible. Let's just be honest about it. It was terrible. Like, I don't know how many cautions exactly it had, but this is the whole point of this. I want to ask you, Cortland, can a terrible race be made? Can it be? I don't know how I want to word this, but can a bad race overall, right? Like if we're sitting there watching it, and I want to make a couple of different points here, because when I'm watching RaceON live on Saturday night, I noticed something that I don't get near as frustrated when I'm watching racing live online and cautions come out versus when I'm actually at the racetrack and I'm the one there broadcasting the race. I don't get near as frustrated about cautions. And I told myself that I'm going to keep that in mind the next time I get in the booth if we have a bunch of cautions, because there's no sense in me just rambling on it, you know what I mean? And just going off about cautions, because really you can't change it. And in the grand scheme of things, I mean, yeah, you just can't change it. So it is what it is. But yeah, there was quite a few cautions there. So can a quote bad race be saved by a great finish? Because what we got out of it was a hell of a great finish. Yeah. I think we had 7 or 8 cautions, but what we got out of it was Matthew Risky storming around the outside of the 4 of Boone Evans and stealing a win away. I mean, dude, it was close. It was tighter than the top string in a Texas fiddle. a really good photo finish there with Boone Evans, who has really been one of the staples in this B mod. You know, he's won 4 races at Boot Hill the last couple of years. He's been really good at Hunt. I mean, we call him the Rocket Man at Rocket because he's so good at
Yeah.
Petty, you know. So, but yeah, to beat Boone Evans, limited mod versus B mod to open up 2026. To not go any further, just kind of get on that race, man. That was a really good finish, man, between Risky. And I think for me, like Matthew Risky is a guy that I feel like he's not one that's going to come out and say, man, I need everybody around here to put some more respect on my name, right? But I feel like that win for him on Saturday night was like a, hey, everybody, I just won the championship at Rocket last year. I'm letting the kids paint the cars for me. Like, I'm that dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I am that guy. I just beat Boone Evans at one of his better racetracks. Like, I think it's time, and me included, I'm going to put a little more respect on my boy Matthew Risky's name. I would like to see him show up and run Boot Hill and see what he's got for the old 69. But I tell you what, I'd also like to see the 69 come to Hunt County or Rocket and see if the 69 could give a run to the 29, because I'm telling you right now, Matthew Risky means business. That's why we call him Risky Business.
That's why you call him Risky Business. I couldn't said it no better myself. You notice, you know, he's been knocking off wins and running up front and all this stuff. And it's one of them deals of like, all right, like this dude's pretty legit, you know, like this dude's pretty legit. But when you throw down the last 3 laps and you're sliding back and forth with Boone Evans, and don't sleep on Denny G right there in the picture as well. I mean, when you go toe to toe with those 2 guys and come out on top, whether it's your home track or not, as fast as Boone has been, put some RESPECT on Matthew Risky, because I mean, it is he's fast. That's been proven, and it was one of those deals of maybe I haven't necessarily just as intently watched a race enough to be like, okay, this dude is like legit certified. But after this past weekend, he's going to be one of my legit certified guys. And like you said it, I'd love to see him come over here, but I'd also, and then I would also in turn love to see our guys go over there and really start mixing it up and getting a good dousing of go ahead and, like, not necessarily power rank, but go ahead and really see how everybody lines up, because the limited mods don't necessarily intertwine as much as they used to back in the day, right? Or I say back in the day, a couple years ago, a lot more people were traveling here and there and everywhere. So, but yeah, Matthew Risky, and to go back on your original question, yes, a great finish can save a terrible race, because at the end of the day, what are we talking about right now? The heck of a finish that Matthew Risky pulled off over Boone Evans, and we're not talking about the 48 cautions that they had. And I think I like you said, and you're sitting at home and it don't necessarily wind down on you too much, but when you're at the racetrack, it does get kind of frustrating. But for 100%, a good finish, that's what we're going to talk about. Like, that's what we're here for. We're just like the Daytona 500. The first 120 laps are terrible, and then you give me the last so many, and they're going to be good, and that's what we'll talk about, right? Tyler Reddick storms through the field and does this, that, and the other. And shout out, talking about NASCAR, Tyler Reddick 2 for 2. All right, come on, don't sleep on that California kid, boy. Come on, back with it. But a wonderful finish can absolutely save a race that seemed like it took forever to get going. And once it finally did get going, it was really good. So shout out to Matthew Risky picking up the win there early in Hunt County over, like you said, Boone Evans and Denny G. And those are 2 dudes, especially over there at the Hunt County Speed Plant, that you know they're tough competitors. Those guys get around there good. So like we both said, Matthew Risky is he's starting off the year hot. He's certified right now.
I was wondering after the race, I was messaging Chase, the announcer, Chase Lawler, who was our guest last week, and I was asking him, what the hell's going on? You know, what the hell's going on around here? Like, well, because listen, dude, I'm about to give you a rundown real quick, right? Like, you hear announcers after races, they give you a full deal rundown, like after World of Outlaws, Johnny Gibson. I'm going to give you a rundown, and then we're going to ask each other what was going on. Why were there so many cautions? Because this is an elite field of cars, in my opinion. We're just going to do the top 14. Mason Martin finished 14th. Cody King finished 13th. Jake Huckabee finished 12th. Peyton Johannesson, who scored his first ever win at Rocket last year. Hunter O'Keefe, who has stepped his game up to a different level, has got top-tier equipment. He finished 10th. Josh Kane from Rio Rancho, New Mexico, finished 9th. Carson Bradley, who picked up 3 wins at Arklatex last year, finished 8th. Rowdy Day was 7th. Landon Capps is the reigning IMCA national champion, finished 6th. Bailey Dosser, who has won at Texas Motor Speedway dirt track before, finished 5th. He advanced 8 spots to finish in the top 5. Gregory Muirhead was 4th. Denny Gabar, Boone Evans 2nd, and of course your winner. That is as tough of a limited field you're going to get on that side of town, dog. You know what I mean? And so I really don't know whose head was up whose ass Saturday night. Excuse my language, but They got to do better than that, because that is too good of a field of cars to be going spin cycle and having cautions come out like that. I don't know if it was just the last half of the field. Maybe I need to go back and watch it, but I'm not here to call anybody out. Like, I'm not going to say shame on you. Let's just do better next time. You know what I mean? Let's just do a little bit better next time, because the fans don't want to see that. Fans don't show up to the racetrack to watch you guys pace around. Just like when we get on iRacing, we don't get on here to pace around. We don't call it I pacing. It's called iRacing. You know what I mean? But anyway, dude. So the other day, okay, so 27 modifieds checked into the pits at Hunt County the other night, right?
Yeah.
27 stellar mods. Like, you want to talk about this top 14 and just went through with the limiteds? This modified field was as good as there was some tough customers over there, cuz. Okay, so
shoes.
I'm not here to call people out on social media, but a guy made a comment on Hunt County's Facebook that said, "You ain't gonna pull many modifieds for 1,000 a win. You need to at least pay 2,000 win and $500 to start." Dude, and I couldn't help myself, Cortland. I couldn't help myself. So I replied to that man and I said, well, apparently not, because there's 27 of them in the pits. It's not like I just, why do people feel the need to comment stuff like this? Like, we're our own worst enemy on social media. I didn't see anyone looking to sponsor any money towards the purse. I just seen someone telling us what it should pay. And if we don't pay that, then we're going to suffer for it. Well, so with all that being said, for all of you modified drivers who listen to this podcast, I want to thank y'all for showing up and showing out and providing a really quality race. That was a superb field of mods and a hell of a nice Saturday night to kick off the season in Hunt County. Like, Chris Hennigan did Hennigan things, but Bo Day started on the pole. Talon Willis is up there taking a stab for the lead early. I don't know what more we could have asked out of 1,000 to win. I don't know what it paid to start, because quite frankly, it doesn't matter. It paid 1,000 win, and I bet Chris Hennigan's happy with it, because if he wasn't happy with it, he wouldn't have loaded his shit up and ran down I-20 to go race there. So that's all I got. Congratulations to Chris Hennigan. And Lil Henny also came home with a solid third place. Bo Day was in a Hennigan sandwich there. Hennigan debuted that Hughes chassis that he and Kel Murphy, he traded his CDR for that Hughes car. But, man, Chris Hennigan did Chris Hennigan things on Saturday night.
Yeah, just was able to make speed where I'm not going to say nobody else can, but he just seems to make speed better in certain places that a lot of other people can't, and rolled right around the outside of Bo. And we know Bo Day, and you mentioned Rowdy Day in that limited mod field. When you roll up to Greenville, them Day boys are about it too. So to do that and just roll right around them, and it was really cool. Sitting back and going back and watching it, you're kind of sitting there thinking like, man, I don't know how good this modified race is going to be. I'm not doubting Hunt County, like it always puts on good races, but they're kind of towards they're end of the night, kind of later in the show, and it's kind of like, man, is it going to race good? And started off there, and then we were treated to an absolutely phenomenal race there for the lead between Chris and Bo. And like you said, Chris does Hennigan things. He goes in there and makes speed in 1 and 2, kind of around the top, and then a groove off the bottom through 3 and 4, just smooth and silky as he could be. And like you said, what a field for 1,000 to win. What a great way to kick off the season. You said it. I'm going to reiterate it. Thank you, modified guys, for showing up. 27 of you entered the pit gates. And honestly, I guess old boy isn't the guy that commented that ain't too smart, because we tried to race for 10,000 to win, 1,000 to start, or whatever silly money it was, and not enough of them wanted to show up. So obviously that wasn't the answer. Paying 1,000 to win was the answer. And we still had a heck of a show on a Saturday night, a one night get her done type of program. And just phenomenal field, phenomenal race. Ain't much more you need to say about it. Like you said, Hennigan sandwich there in the top 3 with Bo Dayford coming in second. Jason Ingalls, Trevor Hughes, Talon Willis, Matthew Day, Max Eddie Thomas, Chase Hatton, Jason Sarton, Jason Langford, Josh Kane. I just had to do that rundown like you did for the limiters, just to tell everybody. Dude, there were some shoes in that pit area. Like if you were a fan and went to Hunt County Speedway, you were treated to a really good night of racing with some really good talent in the pit area. So shout out to all the guys in every class that rolled in, and shout out to all the fans that showed up, because what a great way to kick off the weekend. Chris Hennigan picks up the dub in the modifieds and does Hennigan things.
I was going over there to actually co-announce Saturday night with Chase, and I made a last-minute decision not to go, dude, because I wasn't feeling well. I texted Chris David, and I said, man, I don't ever want to be the one that forces myself to go and announce for the sake of money, right? Like, I don't ever want to be the guy that is forcing myself because, oh, man, like, I'm not feeling well. I probably won't be 100%. I'll probably be at 65%, but let me go over here and just do my best and not do very well. Like, I wasn't prepared, and to be honest, like, I'm not going to go over there and just not be my best. You know what I mean? And I don't ever want to be the guy that is announcing just for the sake of the money. Granted, there's been times in my career I didn't feel up to snuff or I didn't feel well, but I've always tried, no matter what. I'll always try to show up to the racetrack and be 100%, no matter how I'm feeling or no matter any of that stuff. You know what I mean? So, just wasn't able to make it over there Saturday, but I look forward to getting back to hunt at some point. But Chase Lawler did a great job. Our guest last week, he did a really good job calling the action by himself this week. Like I told him I was sorry. I mean, because if you were anticipating co-announcing with me and then you got to announce everything by yourself, like I hated to kind of throw that on him at the last minute, but he can handle it. Like he's a pro and he handled it just fine. So, man, that's nope, not a wrap just yet because dude, we didn't get to the factory stocks. Dude, Mr. 98, Mr. Hunt County. I don't know what we need to call him. But Chris Davis has just got the factory stocks on lock over there at Hunt. Like he is, no disrespect to anybody else, but that 98 car be rolling, son. And Rodney White finished second. Tyrone Abernathy finished third. Blaine Murphy finished fourth. And Jason Tyner, really good run for the Joker, Jason Tyner there. But TJ Evans debuted his new Reaper race car was sixth. Sonny Chofin was seventh. Ryan Powers and Walter Garner rounded out, and Jordan Heffler, rounded out your top 10. But man, another solid field of cars over there. But Chris Davis, once again, proving he's the cream of the crop.
Yeah, 34 of them rolling to the pit area. We said it enough, 114 cars throughout all the classes. And you just had a phenomenal field. And just to put a bow on everything, Hunt County, you said it, Chris Davis just did Chris Davis things. When you go over in that area and you unload or race a factory stock, you know that 98 is going to be one that you're going to have your hands full with. And then to have Rodney White there, that just kind of solidified it even more. Like those are two dudes. Ty Abernathy, glad to see him out there. Blaine Murphy, and you said the Joker, Jason Tyner. Like that's a dude, I swear, I don't know how many times a year he races, but he'll show up anytime, anywhere. Showed up to Boot Hill at the 30,000, was having a heck of a run. Like I don't know exactly how many times he raced. I could look on here and see, but like Jason Tyner is like one of those sneaky good guys that like doesn't race a whole lot, but when he shows up, he's going to be in contention. He's going to get up to the front some way or another. So really cool to see that. TJ Evans, like you said, debuted a new Reaper race car. Glad to see him back in the factory stocks. He tried the little B-mod deal for a little bit, and I'm excited to, I know he's probably excited. That's one of the cool guys in the pit area. One of the more welcoming guys to go talk to. I don't think I've ever seen TJ not very friendly to anybody that walked up and wanted to talk to him. So if any fans are walking around the pit area, want to go meet a driver and go talk to him, I know TJ would be more than happy to talk to you. But to put a bow on Hunt County, man, phenomenal night, phenomenal weekend. Factory stock, Chris Davis had it on lock. That was a wrap for your boy over here on the factory stock racing.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff there. So Hunt County, one more thing on that. I just want to throw it out there. So Saturday night, I had the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series live on Flow. I had the World of Outlaws Late Models live from Hendrick County, live on Dirt Vision. I had RaceON live from, and then I had the UFC fight. Sean Strickland won later that night. It was a nice, and I had the Xfinity race or the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series on earlier. It's still the Busch Series, right? It's always going to be the Busch Series. Let's just go back. Let's just get Busch to sponsor it. Just get it over with. Like Busch is popular. Just get Busch to sponsor it. You know what I mean? Busch sponsor the NASCAR series. Anyway, that's it. Hunt County with 114 cars in the pits, more cars than both Hendry County had, but the Outlaws down there, they were in three classes. They had the Crown Vics and another one. And then we had the 602s at Alltech. And I don't remember the exact car count they had at Alltech, but I do know Hunt County had more cars. They had 5 total classes as well. And I see all the time people are comparing and talking about time restraints, time this, time that. Well, I just want to throw it out there that Hunt County got it done and was rolling on Saturday. Granted, they started hot laps about 4:45 on Saturday. I watched the entire program live on RaceON simultaneously while I was watching the others, and Hunt County was the first racing program on Saturday night to finish. Now, I'm not saying let's give them a cookie, let's do this, let's do that, but with the cold barreling in, it was getting down into the 40s later on Saturday. They went ahead and moved the start time up. I hear Michael Rigsby with Dirt on Dirt and Flow, and they're always talking about time this and time that. But as far as for a local event with 114 cars in the pits, finished before the Lucas races, they finished before the World of Outlaws races that had support classes there. I just want to give a tip of the hat to Hunt County. Like, I'm not here to kiss their ass. We try to do our best with the time and the stuff we're given. Now, with that being said, after further review, I heard that Alltech did start late because their big packer broke. So they had a failure to communicate prepping the racetrack. It was really wet there for a while. So anyway, listen, they all three ran fast, expedient shows, and I'm not trying to give Hunt County an award for coming home first in that regard, but Hey, they ran a phenomenal show. Shout out to their entire staff, Christy Gosnell, Dustin Daniel. There's another one I'm missing that works up there. They really do a great job running a really good show there, and you'll expect the same at Rocket this weekend, right? Like a lot of the same staff, and they just run a really good show. So shout out to them for that, man. What do you want? You want to talk about late models now? What do you want?
Well, yeah, we can. I just want to add in. I just happened to click over to it real
Yeah.
quick. From start to finish of the program, 5 classes, 114 cars. If you want to go back and rewatch it on RaceOn, it's up. It took a total of 4 hours. 4 hours, and
Yeah.
that's with the interviews after the race. Pretty good time. That's
Yeah.
all I got to say, friend. There's a lot of racetracks throughout the country that have run 5 classes with 60 cars and wish that they get the entire program within a 4-hour window. So again, that's what
right.
I wanted to add there. Shout out to Hunt County getting it in, getting it done, and getting everybody out of there. I guess let's talk about late models. Let's go ahead. There might be some late model fan around here that wants to hear us talk about it. Let's go ahead. Let's hit it.
Well, I promised everybody last week we're going to get a more detailed, result on the local stuff, and I feel like we jumped into it and we got detailed on that stuff just as we have done over the last few weeks with late model stuff, right? We just love racing and we're here to talk about it. And for anybody to listen, we appreciate y'all for hanging around. So, in my opinion, Saturday night after the conclusion of the World of Outlaws, so the World of Outlaws feature at Henry County finished before the Lucas Oil feature started, right? And
Yeah.
as I was watching it after Hendry finished, so we get this barn burner of a race with Nick Hoffman and Bobby Pierce.
Yeah.
Pierce and Hoffman going at it, and Hoffman is really like, you're watching it and you're thinking, okay, the 9's for real this year, right? Like after the runs he had at Volusia, nearly dominating all those races, and Pierce only winning once, in Arizona, and then winning that one race on the finale. What was the race he won? Anyway, we'll get.
He
to
won
that.
the opening night at Hendry. He won the opening night at Hendry.
Yeah, he won the opening night. Sorry, in the final night at Arizona. So
yeah.
I was thinking, like, these are 2 of the best late model features we'll probably see all year. That's what I'm thinking at the conclusion of the World of Outlaws race and probably the first 20 laps as I'm watching the Lucas race, right? Because Mark Whitener and Clay Harris are running 1 and 2 at that time.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, we're shaping up. I text Michael Rigsby and Ben Shelton. I said, we're shaping up for a juicy drive home. And they both reacted to it. But anyway, so I thought we were shaping up for a really juicy drive home for those guys. A lot to talk about for late model racing the other night. And it didn't quite live up to the billing for the Lucas race. Those last 30 or so laps, Hudson O'Neill did what the 71 has seemingly done all year so far. He ends up checking out. We did have a caution with 5 laps to go there. But just like the World of Outlaws feature, the 71 kind of had them covered. But the 32 and the 2 race came down to the wire. We had no idea who was going to win the race at Hendry County until the final whistle coming off of turn number 4. And if I have to say anything, Hendry County performed way better. Not that I had any expectations. I really didn't know what to expect. But hearing a lot of this and hearing a lot of that throughout the rumblings and racing throughout the last few weeks, talking about this upcoming event, I felt like Hendry County certainly lived up and performed better than I think a lot of people had their expectations of.
They had their backs against the wall. Everybody that talked about it, and I'm not, obviously they promoted it, and everybody that was promoting it was promoting it in a positive light. But you heard enough rumblings throughout the racing world and people that race there saying, like, there's no way this is going to be good. This is going to be a 1-lane freight train. It's going to be terrible. And kind of a couple of the races leading up to it that start the year, they've ran a lot of races down there in Hendry County this year so far before the World of Outlaws showed up, and they weren't necessarily the best races ever. But you said it, I ain't gonna steal it. You said put super late models on that thing, get it juiced up a little bit, and let's just see what the big dogs can produce. And boy, did the big dogs produce it. I mean, the Friday night feature, I know the 32 kind of drove away and left everybody and said adios amigos, but still, that was a phenomenal race with Ethan Dotson, Wilson, Troutman, everybody was mixed in there. I mean, the Friday night race, you hear it all the time, you take the leader out of this thing and we have a phenomenal race for the lead. But I mean, really, dude, both nights, you really can't complain a whole lot. Yeah, it was sandy. It was throwing crumbs across there. Guys were able to move around. It kind of built up as much of a cushion as a more sand-based track. I'm just going off what people say. I don't know what the dirt is at Hendry County, but you can tell it throws some rooster tails, and you're more sand-based than anything. But just the phenomenal weekend they had, and the 32 checks out on Friday, takes the dub. Want to shout out Ethan Dotson there running second. I know he won out in Arizona as well, but he's one that probably hadn't had the best speed weeks up to his par. He comes on second on Friday night, and then Dalton Wilson come on third with a podium there on Friday. And then Saturday, like you said, barn burner, 60 lap, just an absolute knockdown drag out of a late model feature at Hendry County. And I mean, Nick Hoffman is just as good as he was when he left Volusia. And it's going to be, I'm telling you, man, that points race between Hoffman and the 32 of Bobby Pierce this year might be more interesting than people want to give credit to. So just that's something. And I get back to where we all started. Hendry County delivered. Its backs was against the wall. Not a lot of people had very high expectations. People were doubting it left and right. And boy, did it come through better than ever before. I mean, it just really, it really did. It delivered. And if you ask me, I think Hendry County almost was more entertaining than Alltech was this weekend. I'll go ahead and I'll be the goober that says it. I mean, I think Hendry County absolutely did everything they could in their ability, and they absolutely delivered.
So the point that I kind of made last week, and I'm not here to prove myself right. I've seen this a lot over the years, right? Like the point you just made where I said last week that let's get super late models out there and see what it does. Well, Cody Early, the voice of the I can't remember. He does Southern Nashville, but we know Cody Early. We've talked about him on this podcast. Yeah. He also has announced a lot of races at Hendry County for Crate Racing USA, the Crate Late Model Series over the last few years. But he commented, and I screenshotted this because I wanted to mention it on the pod. He said the extra horsepower at Hendry County helps push that extra fluff up. That was huge for the World of Outlaws races tonight. That was the highest up cars have ever been there. Even the sprint cars couldn't push the fluff up that far, which kind of proved the point, the point that I made last week that these bigger, wider tires, they're gonna push this racetrack to its limits. Like, you don't really know how well this place can race if you've never had the best of the best on it, right? And that's the first time that place has ever really been able to get showcased. And man, what a showcase it was! Like at the end of it, I was really, really proud of them because I know how that feels. I'm not the owner of Boot Hill Speedway, and I don't take any of that credit. But whenever World of Outlaws rolled into Boot Hill 2 years ago for the first time, dude, you and I talked about it on the podcast leading up to it. I talked to Bub and Rollo, and dude, I'm nervous for them because you want your home racetrack to perform well, no matter what. Like you do not want national attention to be on your speedway and it shits the bed. Nobody wants that. Granted, it can happen, right? World of Outlaws came to Rocket. It ended up getting locked down around the bottom. Don't you think Rocket would love another shot at that? Because that racetrack typically races very, very well. And you get the World of Outlaws in there one time. Well, dude, you get one opportunity to show and you better not blow it, And dude, it just sometimes that's what it is. The wind was very high that day. Like I'm sure Kevin Sestairs had a hard time going to sleep since that event happened because that's not anything what he anticipated. No. Certainly wasn't what he signed up for, right? And I know that hurt him a lot. And so that anytime you open the gates, that is a possibility. So for Hendry County to have not had either one of their races be a shit show, I think says a lot for them and the prep that they put into putting this event on. And people are down there eating swamp cabbage. Never heard of it. Apparently, it's like the art. It's like the heart of the palm tree. I learned. I learned all kind of shit. I learned all kind of stuff this weekend. But yeah, dude, I just feel like it was. I feel like it went as good as it possibly done. Sure, the dust could have been down, right? Like nobody likes the dust. But here's the deal, Cortland. I think you would ask a lot of race fans. Would you put up with the dust if the racing is great, right? Would you put up with the dust if the racing is great and we get a good finish and a quality race out of it? I think the majority of them would probably look at each other and say, well, we're at a dirt track. You know what I mean? Like we're at a dirt track. I get it. We don't granted, we don't want to get sanded or blasted out, but we're in Florida. So let's keep an even head about it and realize that could be a possibility as well. But hey, shout out to Hendry County, man. Did a phenomenal job. And I'm pretty sure that's solidified that they'll be back next year at Hendry County for that deal. So I did want to mention something that Nick Hoffman said. I want to get your comments on Nick's post-race.
Let me add something. People complaining about dust. There's 38,000 or 40,000 people show up to the Gateway Dirt Nationals and they have to wear dust banners all night long and they're just absolutely ecstatic about it. So guess what? You can't complain about dust at Hendry County. Okay, that's all I got to say. I'm gonna end the dust discussion there. But go ahead, back to what you were going to.
For anyone that hasn't heard it already, Nick Hoffman gets out of the car post-race. He's fired up. I guess, he kind of surprised himself. I don't think he anticipated winning at Hendry, but the 9 car's been really good. So, and I think he kind of made a comment that's, last week that said, if we go to Hendry County and we end up winning there, then we'll know we're pretty good, Well, he climbs out of the car in Victor Lane and he talks to Ashton Smith, and she asked him about the race, and he said, "I think all the shitholes I ran on the Summer Nationals helped me tonight." And I couldn't figure out if Nick was kind of throwing shade at the racetrack while also saying it raced great. It's like he was trying to cover his bases while saying, "Man, this thing was a shithole, but it raced pretty good for a shithole." That's kind of what I got from it. And I was like, that wasn't very necessary, right? Like, I was like, Nick Hoffman, you don't have to be an asshole. You just won a 15,000 win race. I think that's what it paid. But I mean, it raced way better than any of us expected. And Nick can say whatever he wants. I want drivers to show displeasure. I want them to show their heart. And I want them to show their passion. I want them to speak their mind. I want them to be themselves. But listen, and I'm not saying Nick shouldn't have said that. It just kind of caught me off guard, right? Because you just climbed out of the car after beating unequivocally the #1 ranked dirt late model driver in the nation over the last 3 years running. You just beat him in a photo finish at a track y'all have never been at, and the first thing you do is climb out and say this was a shithole. I was like, what? You know what I mean? Like, what are we talking about? Like, I just didn't think it was necessary. But I also kind of saw where he was coming from, because he did. Let's be honest, Cortland. Nick Hoffman raced at a lot of shitholes, and I'm not. Listen, I don't know that anybody with Summer Nationals listens to Clark After Dark. I'm not calling your racetrack a shithole. There are quote unquote shitholes out there that still put on some pretty good races. Like, they don't have great grandstands. They don't have this. Like, some people, and God help me out, Shane Bear, I love you, and I'm not ever calling Manny a shit. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, the grandstands, right? Like, if you were to compare it to a lot of play, like, some people might say Sabine Speedway's a shithole. I'm going to tell you it's not a shithole, because it means a lot to me. It means a lot to you. It means a lot to a lot of people. Like, can we just not call my racetrack a shithole? Do you know how many Hendry County fans the other night probably were taken aback by that Nick Hoffman comment? Like, what this son of a gun just say about my home racetrack? You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was a little over the top. But anyway, that's all I got. He can say what he wants, and he says what he feels. And I'm glad that he says what he feels, and nobody's there to censor him. I was just kind of taken aback by it. That's all.
It caught me completely off guard as well, because without those quote unquote dumps on the Summer Nationals tour, Nick Hoffman wouldn't be who Nick Hoffman is or got his opportunities to race, right? So I don't know if I'd be like throwing shade at all these places whenever you went around and dominated and made your career off of it. But maybe he didn't mean it in a negative light, like it all can be, everybody can twist words, right? Just in that moment, you get out of the car, you just want to race, and it's like, this place was a dump. Like, no, I don't think it was, bud. Like, now somebody that finished 24th and got their crap wiped out on lap 4, they may be able to say that, but I don't take no credibility in what you just said, because you got out in victory lane. So it is what it is. I mean, for everybody that did say that, I mean, I don't know, like, dirt tracks aren't going to be no premier. There's not a Lucas Oil Speedway or a Huset's or a Texas Motor Speedway every time you roll up to a racetrack. Those are just one in a dime a dozen, right? Like, it's not going to happen. And I don't know. It raced well. They paid good money. You had all the, like, what part of it classified as a dump? I don't know. Like, it did, like, make that make sense to me, because if you ask me, there's been a lot of people make a lot of money at quote unquote dumps, and these fools still hate it with a passion, but the man left with 5-figure payday. Like, I don't understand where we're coming from out of this. Like, maybe he didn't mean it as so negative. And, Nick Hoffman, he is very one that's true. He's going to say his feelings. And if that's how he felt, and I'm sure he didn't mean it in the most negative light, but somebody listening, like you said, those Hendry County faithfuls just left, and they're never buying another NOS energy drink again. They're never buying a NOS again. Like, they're done. Screw that. Like, no, you think Hendry County's a dump? I'll tell you what, NOS energy drink's a dump, and they can take that orange blaster and shove it straight up somewhere. Like, I don't know. It was a lot there was a lot to unfold right there in that little bit. And I hear you. Like, it was just a lot. I don't know. Like, I hope he didn't mean it negatively. And if he did, it's like, dude, like, what are you mad about? Like, really? Like, what are you mad about? Like, you can at least be a little positive, give some shout out to Hendry County being willing to throw a race out there. Like, they didn't have to do that, but they gave you an opportunity to race, and now you're leaving with more money than you would have came down with. So it is what it is. That wraps and the points lead. Like, it's what you should be mad about, bro? Like, what are you mad about? Like, I don't.
I'm gonna give him. Like, you know what we need to do? We need to give him the number of the Marco's Moose Ranch Hair Care and Tire Center. Have him call Marco Mitchell and see if Marco could straighten him out. You know what I mean?
I guarantee it. I
That'll be a
guarantee it.
good story
Marco
for
would tell
one day. Yeah.
Marco would tell him what a dump really is.
We're gonna tell y'all that story sooner than like at some point
Yeah.
we're actually gonna let Marco come on the podcast and tell the story himself. If y'all remember, Marco was on the podcast one night. He came on here and gave us a good 5 or so minutes. Remember? What did he do? He came on
Yeah.
here and gave us some picks before I can't remember what race it was. Hell,
I think it was
was
the
it before the
Dome,
World?
was it?
The Dome. It was the Dome. It was the Dome. That's
Was it the
right.
Dome?
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, Nick Hoffman doesn't know this, but Marco Mitchell's got a pretty good story about Nick Hoffman. Nick Hoffman doesn't know it, like I said, but
He don't know it.
but yeah, it's gonna be good whenever we tell it.
And me or you we couldn't tell it right
We
neither.
can't.
You gotta have Mark.
We
You gotta
can't.
have Mark tell it. And Mark was also the fan of the night for people that have been paying attention. We put his picture up. He camped out at
Yeah.
Boot Hill and come and hung out, and that's where the
Yeah.
story happened. That'll be for another
our
day.
boy.
There's your teaser.
Yeah.
Come tag along at some point, and we'll tell that story.
All right, so back over to Alltech. I've just got a few points
Yeah.
about Alltech. So we moved from Hendry over to the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series at Alltech, 3 nights of action. And I feel like after Alltech, like you've got to say, like, they're really, really trying. Like with the loss of East Bay, you can tell Alltech has stepped up, right, and is trying to become that next Florida destination type facility. And man, that place really does race very well. Like I would say Alltech is a truly destination racetrack. 5 or 6 years ago when it first burst on the scene, right, when Kyle Larson won by over 15 seconds. And
Yeah.
I mean, I know they ran at Alltech some before, and I know it's always been a big crate track, right? But for it to just consistently race as well as it does, I think Alltech is certainly on the map and here to stay now. A couple of other things. Is RTJ washed? I mean, if I had told you, Cortland Smith, that Ricky Thornton Jr. would be 15th at Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series points leaving Alltech, that is his, quote, favorite racetrack, I don't think you would have believed it. Brandon Overton leaves. He said that Alltech would supposedly be his worst track, and they were on the podium 2 of 3 nights, and he seems really, really confident, confident that we've talked about the last few weeks. I think he's going to win 2 at Ocala this week. Also, Garrett Alberson kind of shook back. He had a really good run there on the finale the other night. And how about Clay Harris, man? Finished on the podium 2 of 3 nights, maybe should have been 3 out of 3 on the podium. And dude, tonight, first night at Ocala, he finished 3rd again. He's on the podium. And listen, I know he's from Jupiter, Florida, but dude, when you're racing against the big dogs and you're racing against the elites, it don't matter where you're from. It don't matter who you came with. You got to get out there on the racetrack and you got to mean business. And I'll tell you what, so far to open up 2026, Clay Harris has backed up his own words in which he told Ben and those guys that, hey, we're going for a championship. It's like, Clay Harris said he's going for the championship. Well, hey, who's laughing now? Okay, like you're only as good as your last race. I know he ain't won one yet, but if you want to talk about consistent, ain't nobody better and more consistent right now in his home state of Florida than Clay Harris. That boy's rolling right now. And one final thing, Mark Whitener, like we said earlier, led over 25 laps, had a great car, heartbroken there. But I'd say the guy, like the Florida standout so far, is undoubtedly Clay Harris. Right? What a run for him!
This is going to be the speed weeks that we look back. And if Clay Harris goes on the rest of the year and continues to have the speed and the success, this is going to be he kind of had his moment last year at Ocala, right? Led a lot of laps, got past there late. And, you kind of like, okay, like this dude, like, he can race. Like don't completely sleep on him, but go out on the tour, see how it's going to be. And that dude had all the troubles in the world. He even said it in the interview, like he wanted to quit and come home, and people were bringing him motors, bringing him parts. Like he had a great support group around him. And that's what it takes in this deal, especially whenever you go out on the road like that, like he did. And then to turn around, you said it. I mean, just the most consistent guy so far between the Alltech and then come out of Ocala. Like I'd say the most consistent. Obviously, there's guys that are, but just this is going to be his breakout speed weeks. Like this is going to be his speed weeks moment that solidifies. Okay, this Clay Harris is. If he keeps this speed up all the way throughout the speed weeks of Golden Isles and all the way through speed weeks to Golden Isles, if he keeps all this up, this is just going to be his breakout moment in year that he can continue to build. Because man, you go down there and you struggle and you just kind of get your confidence is down. Everybody's not necessarily happy to show up. Like that trends throughout the whole year. Like, guys tell you there's a reason you go down there and you race a bunch, because that sets the tone for the year. And not that you can take anything race car related past Florida, because all those tracks are so goofy and have their own little niches, but it just builds confidence. It builds team morality. It builds all of that. And it just that's your building block of your 2026 race season. It gets started right here, right now. And they've got a great foundation rolling into the year. Hopefully he doesn't have too many issues, no bad lucks, because at the end of the day, you need a little bit of luck in this sport, whether you believe it or not. You got to have things just fall your way sometimes. And so if everything seems to line out, man, this could be Clay Harris's year. Is he going to be in contention for a title? Who knows? If you leave Speed Weeks in the good, bud, like it sets you up pretty good and go around, and you just might, like you said, a little bit of luck take you a long way, friend. But to also mention All Tech, I said it last week. Your boy over here, Dirt on Dirt, was sleeping. They say Nick Hoffman was number one, and they finally put Hudson O'Neal up there. And after Hudson O'Neal comes through and wins that feature on Saturday, I think that kind of solidified me there that I wasn't a complete silly goose for making that statement, because that 71 has been really, really, really good. He wasn't necessarily that great on Thursday night at All Tech, but he come away with fifth on Friday and then solidified it with a win on Saturday. And that's another one, man. You know, we talk about this Lucas Oil, and you got your RTJ, your Moran, your Brandon Overton. Those are kind of like the three, and the Rocket One. You know, those are the guys that you're thinking about. Well, right now, Hudson O'Neal's coming out the shop storming on an absolute tear. And I don't see much slowing down for that 71 camp, man. He's been really, really good. I know he didn't necessarily have the greatest run tonight at Ocala, and it's sad when you say the greatest run and he finished fifth, you know. So that 71 camp is looking right. And to kind of hit on the RTJ thing, obviously they knew something was wrong. You know, they mentioned they left, and they didn't even race at Ocala tonight. They went all the way back to their shop, Kohler Motorsports home base, to go through things and line some things out. I don't know exactly what they went back and found or changed, but obviously something in that program was not gelling well. And I'm not saying it's the crew. I'm not saying it's Ricky Thornton. We know Ricky Thornton Jr. can drive. We know Anthony Burrows is a great crew. They got I think Justin Tharp's over there. The guy that was there last year, I think his name's Zach. I think it's Zach. Crap. I just drew a blank on his name. But anyway, they got a great crew around them, got a great driver. Huh?
I said Trunk Hill, but that's not it. Thinking of a different one.
They got a great crew, got a great driver, got a great team. And obviously they realize something's off. We need to go back home and completely reset, and let's start this Speed Weeks over again and come back down. So I think they'll be back down maybe by tomorrow which now you're hearing this. This is Tuesday night. You'll hear this Thursday. They'll probably be racing at Ocala by then. But obviously they knew something wasn't right. And it's really fishy, because Ricky Thornton Jr. the last couple of years has gone down to Speed Weeks, and they've been on point, you know. So whatever they're going to get figured out, obviously they knew something was wrong and need to go reset, and that's what they're doing. But man, just when you look back at it, it's what a weekend that you had at All Tech. Brandon Shepard wins night one. Devin Moran kind of slips away on Friday. I think Friday race went caution free, and Devin Moran just took away with it. But just what a good weekend they had at All Tech as well. You can't complain. You talk about how big of a track it is, and it's really, when people see those places, it's like, golly, this place is huge. Like, this is a monstrosity of a racetrack. And it's like, you know, the large version of East Bay, how they say it. You can see them going there and they can't turn. They tear out more deck pieces, not trying to, there than they do at places that they try to knock the deck out of it, you know. So just one of those really cool places. The Lucas Oil, what a great place to start off the year for them and really get things going, because it really does. Like I said, this is your building block, and what a great place to go to set the tone.
I don't know about you, but and I feel like Jonathan Davenport not running the Lucas Oil Tour this year. And when I say this, I'm not like taking a shot at him, because I love watching the Lucas Oil series. When I was watching this past week, I felt like something was missing, and I came to the conclusion that it's because the 49 car is not there. Like, it just something just feels like it's less than whenever the 49 car is not in the pits of the Lucas Oil race. And granted, I know that he's going to run the majority of the races this year, right? Like, he wants to be able to run when and where he wants to. And if Lance Darlander support him in his endeavors, then hey, why not run your own schedule? Because obviously it proved well for him when he had his $1 million season a few years ago, right? Like, he didn't run a tour that year. Am I correct? He didn't run a tour that year, just like the year that Overton dominated and won the Dream in the World in 2021. He didn't run a tour that year either. And so, listen, he'll run a bunch of Lucas races, but it has felt a little different down here in Speed Weeks without the 49. And in my opinion, Cortland, I don't know how you feel about this. And I'm not really too big into the comparing game too much, because listen, they're both very quality national tours. And I know in the sprint car world, high limit versus World of Outlaws sprint cars, like that's been the big topic of conversation. Well, they haven't ever been split. There's never been two national sprint car tours. until just a couple of years ago. So everybody on the sprint car side have been trying to get used to that, right? And it's been different for them. And like I know my buddy Josh Bell, he's a big sprint car fan. Right now, he is just not sold. He is not even interested in watching sprint car racing. I only think he's renewed his Dirt Vision account because he feels like the shows are kind of less than because all the talent isn't in one series anymore. Well, in late model racing, I mean, the World of Outlaws late model series has been back going since 2004, right? And
Yeah.
the Lucas Oil series has been going since 2005. And so we've had it every single year. So every year at around Speed Weeks, we look and kind of see what the roster, how that's assembling, right? What it's going to look like this year. And I've kind of come to the terms with myself that I feel like this year, as of right now, Cortland Smith, I feel like the World of Outlaws late model series has the best roster right now. If Jonathan Davenport was to jump on Lucas, and maybe I'd feel differently. But without JD on Lucas and with 18 full timers on World of Outlaws, right now I feel like the World of Outlaws is the ticket, man. And like I know everybody has their opinion. Oh, flow racing's better than dirt vision. Oh, the announcers are better on flow. This, that, and the third. Folks, we're talking about the quality of the racing and the
Yeah.
racing on the racetrack. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about any of that other stuff. I'm talking about the quality of the fields that they're assembling to put on the racetrack for you fans for your viewing pleasure. I think World of Outlaws are doing really, really solid so far this year.
I can't disagree with that at all, friend. No lie detected here out of your boy, the out of your boy over here. When you look down and you break it down, and you kind of just reference Dirt on Dirt, the top 25. You got 5 guys in the top 20, in the top 10 on World of Outlaws, and you got 5 guys from Lucas in the top 10. So you're split 50-50 there. You got Hudson O'Neill's number 1. Obviously, he's Lucas, and then 2 and 3 is Hoffman and BP 32. And really, when you sit there and you really break it down, I mean, you can't. I've felt this way kind of last year and in the years past, dude. This Outlaws field, you can't sleep on it. And for some reason, just this ideology of Lucas Oil is just foot and tall better than World of Outlaws has entered a lot of people's brain, and I don't understand why. Like I really don't, because when you really break it down and you sit here and you look at this World of Outlaws roster, you got Nick Hoffman, BP 32, no introduction needed. Tim McCready, okay. Tim T-Mac, the Watertown, New York native, is third in points. Turbo, Drake Troutman, Ryan Gustin, Dustin Sorensen, Ethan Dotson, Dennis Erb Jr., an absolute certified wheeler, been doing it forever, won a championship with the World of Outlaws. Dalton Wilson, Jake Tim, Tristan Chamberlain, Brent Larson. Like, I mean, you can just keep on
Lucas
going
is
down.
more top heavy.
Lucas is more top heavy, but when like you said, 18 guys are going to follow this tour, at least for right now. Are all 18 going to finish the year? Who knows? That's the big question. But I'm going to guarantee 15 of them probably do. You'll have somebody, because I think that's when the tow money and the contingency money cuts off, is at 15. So at some point they're going to wheedle out the dudes that ain't getting the show up money. But at the end of the day, these guys are, for right now, you got 18 guys guaranteed to show up. But when you look throughout the field, man, that addition of Tyler Erb this year really does help. T-Mac being back on tour. Like, I mean, it's just, I don't know. And I'm not saying World of Outlaws is head and tall above better than Lucas Oil by no means. But I'm just saying this ideology of Lucas Oil is just way better. Now, like, sit down and let's actually look at some things here. Like let's break it down and actually look at it here, because BP 32 has been the greatest dirt late model driver the last 2 years with Ricky Thornton Jr. It's not like both of them were on the same tour and it was just them two winning. Like it's pretty even. Like it's about as even as you can get. Yes, Lucas Oil may be a little bit more top heavy. Those names carry some weight, but those dudes on the Outlaws tour, they ain't no jokes, man. I mean, Ryan Gustin wins the USA Nationals with all the dogs there showing up, and right now he's sitting at 16 points. Tim, you don't have to tell me what all Tim McCready's done. You don't have to tell me what all Nick Hoffman's done. Like, it's just, I'm going to say it again for the third time and I'll be done. This whole idea that Lucas Oil is head and shoulders better than the World of Outlaws, it's kind of that maybe 4 years ago you could say that, but when you lose the 49, he's on Mount Rushmore dirt late model, right? Like, he is one of those dudes. He's gonna be in the discussion of the Billy Moyer, Scott Bloomquist, JD. Like, and when you lose that name value, you can't put him head and shoulders above everybody else no more. That Outlaw field is good, man, and so is the Lucas Oil. There's no shot back and forth. I'm just saying we just need to come to the realization that they're just as even. Oh, I'm gonna get off even. I'm trying to get my hands even. There we go. They're even. They're just as even as they could be right now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, man. And only time will tell, right? Like, we'll see how this season unfolds. And, that's why I prefaced the end of that was, as of right now, like, this is how I feel right
Yeah,
now, and obviously you kind of feel the same way too, and, like, we don't honestly, we you and I really don't talk about all these. I mean, maybe we do. We talk a little bit about it, like, we'll send a message here and there, but we want both of these
yeah,
tours to be ultra successful, right? Like, sure, World of
100%.
Outlaws comes to Boot Hill, that's in our neck of the woods, and we're happy to have them, right? Like, so, of course, we hope the World of Outlaws is successful because by the time they're here in October, we hope that they had a great season and
Yeah,
people are interested and still watching what's going on there. So, and I'm sure Lucas will have a great year as well too. So can't wait to watch them all. I'm sure we won't miss a race, right? Like we won't miss a lap this season. We are true diehard, true blood racing fans, right? Like not only will we not miss a race here locally at our local tracks, we'll watch every lap of all these national late model tours as well. And the summer nationals, right? When our boy Chris Steppen gets on the mic and does his thing, like,
yes.
dude, I'm not going to do this right now. Never mind. I'm going to be kind, but listen, if there's anybody out there, and I've talked to Chris about this, I know he stays busy and has his own boats to row and what have you. But man, I'm just gonna throw this out there that if there's ever a seat that's available, I know there's not a lot of jobs out there, and granted, I would love to have one, right? Like I would love to be the World of Outlaws announcer if I had the opportunity. But as far as somebody that's deserving of it, Chris, and I'm not trying to replace the one that's in there now. Like he's earned it. Like I'm not taking anything away. I'm just saying if a seat ever came undone, somebody needs to call Chris Stebbin. That's all. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Just give him a call. I bet he'd love to talk to you. That's all I have to say. And he's just really, really good, man. Just a
Yeah,
just a really good announcer. Um, I want to ask you this question, and dude, this can apply to anything. Like, I want to ask, who won the week? Like, who won the week? Was it Hendry County? Was it Alltech? Was it Hunt County? I mean, what? I mean, just a grand, just an overall question.
I
Like,
got
who
you.
won the week? Yeah, who won the week?
Uh, Dude, I said it earlier that I think Hendry County put on a better show than a lot of other places this past week. Hendry County. I mean, obviously, with both tours, like it was a big shot, and you've heard it rumblings throughout. People didn't like that both national tours are racing on top of each other. But at the end of the day, you're hearing of record crowds at All Tech. Hendry County has their biggest race ever, and it sounded like it was a success. How can you not be happy about it? How can Hendry County not feel confident to come back next year and do it all over again and put on a phenomenal show like they did? Like those fans, this is their one chance a year. That place is way down south, like 4 hours south of
Yeah,
All Tech. Like these guys aren't coming back this neck of the woods till next year. And so for those people, and like I said earlier, Hendry County had their backs against the wall. There were so many, not necessarily negative things, but people are like, oh, I don't think it'll be that good, or oh, they don't need to do this because it's racing on top of other deals. Speed Weeks hasn't done this in 6 or 7 years. Oh Lord, I said it. They ain't done it in so many years. Like it, and then to come out and absolutely produce a phenomenal race and just event that they did, dude, Hendry County wins all day long. And I really hope that they get back on tour next year. I haven't really necessarily talked to a couple of my buddies that were there, but from a viewership standpoint, the heat races were really good. The features were really good. Like it isn't much. And for as much, not necessarily negativity, but question marks that were around Hendry County and the Swamp Cabbage 100, they took all those question marks and threw them out the window and said, boys, we delivered. If you want to come back next year, we're here. So I'm going to give it to Hendry County just because of what they put out this weekend, man. It's not, they haven't had a super late model race there to my knowledge. Like there were so many unknowns, and they come out through swinging for the fences, and they absolutely hit it out the park. And then I'm going to turn this around on you, friend. Who was your winner of the weekend? Maybe I took yours. I hope I didn't, but that's the
no.
way I'm leaning.
I kind of want to ask you then who lost the week too, because man, I feel like I could come up with a good who lost the week. But
Ooh,
my who won this week is Hunt the Front and Southern Raceway. We've
there you
seen
go.
it. Southern Raceway, Hunt the Front bought Southern
Yeah.
Raceway. I've talked about it on this pod before. I announced there in 2021, and buddy, it was a sand. They called it Bo Slay set the
The
track record that weekend,
sandbox.
and I nicknamed him the Sandbox Slayer. Yeah, the name of the race I announced was 20,000 win super late models that weekend. Brandon Overton won. That was his dominant year,
Yeah.
2021, and that was his 31st win of the year when I was down there interviewing him that night. But it was called the King of the Sandbox. And you could tell, like the Joiners called me, and I went down there and announced that race for them. And man, it was an awesome experience. Like I've always been really cool with the Joiners. Of course, I called that big 100 lap, 50,000 win Super B race, the Super B 100 that Joseph Joyner won. And that's kind of when we developed a friendship and ended up going down there with them and stuff. So I've been to Southern Raceway. Like I know, and man, I'm gonna tell you, and I've told anybody that's ever asked me what did I think of Southern Raceway. I tell anybody that it is one of the best atmospheres I've ever been to at a racetrack. Like if they could just get the racing surface down pat or get some new clay on there and get the right people in charge, then man, that would be a destination. It really would be. And here we are, 5 years later. Joseph, Jonathan, Josh, Dirt Daddy, the whole Hunt the Front
Yeah.
family have purchased that is their home racetrack. They purchased their home racetrack, and dude, they just put clay on it. Like they've been working their asses off every day for the last month or so. They put new clay on it. They have like a prelim prior to this Clash on the Coast, that's going on here this week with IMCA. Well, they had a pair of 1,000 win modified races there on Friday and Saturday. Troy Morris from California comes down. Wesley Wise in the GRT chassis house car from Arkansas. I mean, if you haven't seen the highlight yet, folks, just type in Southern Raceway in Facebook, and I'm sure it'll pop up. But dude, an IMCA race that had Troy Morris III ripping the lip up there at the top of the racetrack, up there on the curb where he said, like Southern actually has a curb now. But man, Wesley Wise and Troy Morris are going at it for the IMC modified race. And you can see it, man, when they come off before. Wesley Wise threw the wild, I don't even know, like that was a wild move. I don't even want to call it a slide job, because if Troy Morris didn't completely almost kill the race car to stop to let him go across the nose, he would have killed him. They would have been flipping over the top of 3 and 4. You know what I mean? So he checks the throttle, they drag race back to the line, and Wesley Wise wins the race by this much, right? There's a little by about that much. But, dude, you could see the fans. Everybody is up on their feet. And, dude, that is the exact atmosphere that I was just talking about. Like, I talked to so many diehard fans that were at that place that weekend. Like, I talked to an older guy who was there in a wheelchair. He told me, I've been coming to Southern since they opened the doors back in 1994. Like he's been there since the get-go, son. And so I guarantee you that man sitting in that crowd the other night was fired up watching something like that. And, dude, for the joiner, like Josh got on Facebook, he said, I think we just witnessed the greatest race in Southern Raceway history. For them to, like, okay, they're here, they're supposed to talk their racetrack up and good, but then they have the video file to come out that backs it up. Like that, like for the cameras to be able to capture that, to see the fans hooping and hollering. And dude, it was just awesome. Like, so for me, like, I am always down for your local racetrack to be booming, son. And what they dude, they had a line wrapped around the backside of the parking lot. That was not only the biggest crowd in Southern Raceway history, they may have witnessed one of the greatest races there in history. But, dude, shout out to Hunt the Front and all the great things they're doing for dirt track racing. But not only for dirt racing, but for their own local racetrack. There's a lot of things that they could have invested their money back into. Like they've invested a lot of money for Joseph to race super late models, right? They've had Capitals, they've had Longhorns, they've tried all this different stuff, but they are really passionate about their local racetrack. And dude, you could see it on full display on Saturday. So for me, man, Hunt the Front and Southern Raceway won the week. There's no doubt for me, man. That was just badass to watch.
It was absolutely incredible. And we see people all the time, and they put their money where their mouth is, and they said they're going to go in and change things, and they completely revamped that place to as much as they could. Now, I'm not saying they come in there and brought bleachers from Daytona in there in a week, but completely redone the surface, painted the walls. I mean, did as much dress up as they could in such a short amount of time. And like you said, if you ain't seen the highlight, go check it out. I don't care about the first 18 laps. Give me them last 3 every day of the week, and I'll be a satisfied fan. And to have, and the outreach that they have, and to get all those people there, and to be treated to a race like that, whether people showed up there because it was Hunt the Front, or they showed up there because it was Southern Raceway and their home track, or showed up for whatever reason, if they didn't leave as a satisfied customer, I don't know what to tell them, because there's nothing else that you really could do. And obviously in the video, like you said, to be able to capture that, and literally half the bleachers are standing up, fist pumping, or doing some type of motion with the excitement of a dirt track race at a place that was essentially, I'm not going to say that place that people hated to go, but it had its national spotlight, just like Hendry County. It had its chance, and it had its moment, and it delivered. And people are leaving, and we're sitting here talking about it today in a positive light and not a negative. And it's one of those deals where we talk about the negativity of social media, and and all the internet and all everything that's been evolved over the last however many years. but then you have the positivity of it, of we were able to watch that. And because of Hunt the Front and technology and everything, they're able to suffice enough funds to go buy their racetrack and do all that stuff. And it was just really, really cool to see everything go full picture. And you said it best. They're put back into their local racetrack. Obviously, they're not sitting there just going bonkers and just completely, like I said, they did as much revamp as they could in that short amount of time. I'm sure they got more improvements planned, but to have the weekend they did, man, and to have the finish they did, it's kind of like the Hendry County deal. Just, it was you had your moment, you had your chance, and it delivered, and you can't ask for much more than that.
I actually reached out to Josh Joyner. I told you that last night. I texted him last night and asked him if he'd be interested in coming on the podcast tonight, just to talk about Hunt the Front, talk about Southern and all these. And I didn't think about it before I messaged. I actually sent him I said, man, I didn't even think about y'all racing the mod this week. Like, they're at the racetrack this week, helping out with the Clash on the Coast stuff. And so they're at the track. So I anticipate maybe, because me and Josh go way back, like way before, like, even I just went and worked that race for them that one time. Like, man, we've worked a lot of races that, he worked for Dirt on Dirt for years. He used to cover the World of Outlaws series. He was a writer for them. But yeah, man, he used to cover a bunch of races at Lone Star. That's the first time I ever met him, I think, was back in 2010. So yeah, long time coming, man. So yeah, I'd hope to have him sometime maybe in the future. Actually, I told him, I said, we'd take Jonathan, JoJo, or yourself, whichever one of y'all is available.
Yeah.
So, but
just man, some JJ.
Let me ask my producer in my ear. He'll tell me, Cody, how long has this podcast been going now? Are we over an hour and 15? I don't know if I want to do the race procedures this week. Cortland, do you want to go over these race procedures this week or save it for next week?
We'll save it for next week. Go ahead and do it.
You want to go ahead and save it for
next
week?
To me. Yeah. We can save it for
next
week.
I feel like we've had a pretty good run here. Like, I feel like this has been a pretty good podcast, and we could end it now.
I mean, if you want to run it, we can run it, or it don't matter to me, friend. I'm just here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just here.
Well, I didn't know if we were over the hour and a half mark. As we were, I'd just go ahead and kill this thing, and we'll save it for next week, because Boot Hill doesn't race next weekend. We won't be coming here to recap Boot Hill. Obviously, we're coming here to preview the Ronnie Adams. So, but yeah, no, let's. I think we should do that next week. Yeah, so keep everybody on their toes, man. We've got a multiple choice. Hey, actually, throw that on the screen, and we'll let everybody think about it. We're not going to go over it right now, but here's your race procedures right here. We're going to go through this 1 through 7 multiple choice, and I'm going to ask you, Cortland, what we need. And we're going to answer 1 through 7, A, B, or C, multiple choice. I don't have a D, sir. I'm sorry. I do have a couple of D's, but I don't have an all of the above. I'm sorry, but this is the best we got. But I want to go through that, and I want to get your answers. This is for race procedures for dirt track racing. And there's a lot of different scenarios. A lot of different racetracks do things differently. But I'd just like to be interested to see what your thought process is on a lot of this stuff, right? Like, we've both been around this game a long, long time, and I think there is a certain and a proper way to run a race program. But hey, that's why you do have race procedures and these all kind of things that are set in stone at a racetrack. But I just kind of wanted to bring them here and us kind of go over and talk about them. So we'll save that for next week. Thank you, Cody, for throwing that up. But I think that would be a pretty fun conversation to have.
It'd be a great conversation to have. And the only reason I said do it next week, because we could spend 10 minutes on each question. So that's why I said just save it to next week. Because like it would take an answer, and then I would explain a little bit, because some of my answers is probably not what the general public or general racers want to hear, but I have a reason behind it, so we can save it for next week. I do want to say, I know we'll talk about the races coming up on RaceON, but before I forget, because I know we're probably about to wrap it up, I didn't have a 73 for this week, but I do have a guy that raced the number 7. Uncle Freddie Blanchard has been down and out for a while. Yes, B7. Uncle Freddie Blanchard, the uncle to old Richard Cowboy Blanchard that we've mentioned a couple times. And I'm not going to say exactly, for some reason I knew what he was going, or what sickness he had, but man, he had been in the hospital, been on the ventilator, and I think it's been 40 something days that he has been hospital ridden. And I think today, actually, I'm looking it up right now because I had it pulled up, and then I looked up something, and today he did 4 hours of therapy and is now doing dialysis. Please continue to pray. This is coming from Miss Melissa. And thank y'all so much for the previous player. We have a long road, but God is with us. And man, Uncle Freddie is one of those dudes.
Love him.
I'm getting goosebumps because love the dude, man. Uncle Freddie is just that dude. And if you ever met him, he's Uncle Freddie. There's a reason we call him Uncle Freddie, because just imagine, like, your cool uncle. he went out there and raced. He didn't have to. He did it because he loved it and wanted to race. And just a really cool guy. Number 7 gang, shout out to Uncle Freddie, man. Glad to hear you're doing better. T's and P's are still going out to the Blanchard family, and glad to hear that Uncle Freddie's on the mend, man. We talked about it when we finished the show last week. I looked at you, go, Zach, I meant to talk about Uncle Freddie, and I forgot. But I wasn't going to forget this week, man. Uncle Freddie Blanchard, we're praying for you. Keep on powering through, man. He's one tough hombre, and I'm glad to hear that there does seem to be a road to recovery, doing therapy now. So all that seems to be we're on hopefully on the uphill trajectory now. So T's and P's out to the Blanchard family. Uncle Freddie, we're here for you, brother. I don't know how much help I can do. I'm not a doctor by no means, but if you need a good laugh, I'm here for you, Uncle Freddie.
That's right. Yeah, man, I love the entire Blanchard family. I miss Alicia, Cowboy. I miss them all. I even miss Audie coming to the racetrack. I miss them all, man. Just great group of folks, man. And that old ERC chassis out there. Of course, Cowboy had the old bootleggers. He had the Wild Childs there for a little while, but I think when he comes back, he said he wants to get him an outlaw. He's going to come back eventually. Okay, like I don't know when, but Cowboy's going to come back eventually, and he's going to come back and mean business. So. Final thing before we wrap up here. I know I started off the podcast with it, but I'm going to close with it as well. Remember, folks, the spring kickoff, Kennedale Speedway Park this weekend, kicks off for Friday night, February the 27th. They also race on Saturday night, the 28th. Also, Springfield Raceway will be live on RaceON this weekend. The event called the Sweetheart, a couple of weeks after Valentine's Day. They race on Friday and Saturday night. Arklatex Speedway lifts the lid on their 2026 season on Saturday night, where Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas all meet up there in Vivian, Louisiana, at Arklatex Speedway, the land of the 3-wide. Rocket Raceway Park for the shakedown. We'll also have media day this weekend. Drivers, if they show up between 1 and 4 o'clock, we'll have a dedicated media production team set up for drivers. They'll also, if they participate, will receive 100 free hero cards for each driver. We'll be doing pictures, interviews, hype video shoots, and also there'll be open practice for everyone after the last feature ran on Saturday night. So not only are we going to race for the opening race for the shakedown, there's the flyer on the screen, we'll also have an open practice. So you'll get the race and also get to feel your race car out a little bit afterwards if that's something you're interested in. So big week on tap of racing. Of course, the Ronnie Adams Memorial kicks off at Boot Hill with the Revival Super Dirt late models March 6th and 7th. So that's 2 weeks. And I-37 Speedway for the Redneck Stress Relief. Also, 105 Speedway kicks off their season on March the 7th. So I think that covers all the bases. Cortland Smith, we got a lot of racing coming up around here locally, regionally, and nationally, man. It's a great time to be alive, my friend, and happy to do this podcast with you, man, as we'll just keep on rolling and strolling. And you have anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Nah, just the way I came into it, man. We get kicked off with Arklatex this weekend. We are full bore. We got 3 or 4 programs on the RaceON platform, man. It is here. It is time. Find some place. If obviously we want you at the racetrack, go put your rear end in the grandstand. Go enjoy the racetrack. Go get outside. Get your dirt and your sweet tea and your nachos. It'll be all right. It's good protein. And go enjoy it, man. Speed weeks. You can watch a super late model race the next couple nights. I mean, racing season's here, friend. I don't know what more to tell you, especially down here around us. Arklatex gets kicked off. KSP gets going. You had Hunt County, KSP, Rocket. All of them are getting fired off. Arklatex gets fired off, and then Boot Hill starts with a bang, as it has the last 7 years with the Ronnie Adams Memorial. Just can't be more excited than I am right now. And hopefully all of us have our chance right now, just like Hendry County and Southern Raceway did. Those first races of the year, these are the building blocks. These are our moments. We can have our special moments and set the tone for a phenomenal year. And I think that's exactly what it's going to be. So obviously, if you can't make it out the racetrack, RaceON is your best alternative, right? So hopefully see everybody soon. We'll be there. We'll be somewhere at a racetrack very soon, and all gathered around with some of our greatest friends that turn into family, and loving every minute of it, friends. So that's about all I got from me. We're just LIVI in it, and we'll be LIVI in it at a racetrack here soon, and I can't be more excited about it.
10-4, folks. That's a wrap on this edition of Clark After Dark. Thank y'all so much for tuning in with us. I had fun tonight, man. Thank you for being here. I'm Zach Clark. He's Cortland Smith. Be blessed and be a blessing. Hugs and hand pounds. We'll see you back here next week.
Later.